would have shown up for rookie mini camp right after the draft. Some of them just don't know how to train. Not all of them. Some of them are in great shape. But the veterans knew what to expect and really, really pleased with the conditioning of the group.
Okay, next up is going to be Ed and Cena.
Hi, Bruce. I mean, obviously, with the addition of LaShawn McCoy, adds another option in your running back room. You've got a lot of different kind of guys there. Obviously, you got McCoy, a veteran guy with that kind of resume. You know, kind of the guy who's the up and comer, and Ronald Jones, a rookie, and Keyshawn Vaughn, who you haven't seen much of. I mean, when you look at that room, is there one guy who's ahead of that group? And, you know, how does that kind of shake out when you look at the competition there? Could it be something where, you know, you want all those guys to carry an even load, or how do you see that room developing?
No, Rojo's the main guy. He'll carry the load. All those other guys are fighting for roles. Who goes in second when he gets tired, maybe third down, who's the third down guy. But they're all fighting for a role, and special teams will have a lot to do with that. But yeah, no, LaShawn, adding him, you know, he's a great veteran. He's a very bright guy. He's already coaching those guys, helping them out. And yeah, he'll find his niche easily.
Okay, our next question is going to come from Rick Stroud.
Hey, Bruce. I read where the New Orleans Saints have, rented some rooms, I guess, at a hotel in New Orleans for their guys to stay. They may do it throughout training camp and maybe even some into the season. How concerned are you that, I know you're doing the right things in the building, but when these guys go home, who knows who they're interacting with, right? Have you considered anything like that, of having a place where those guys just kind of create their own bubble?
Yeah, we have a hotel sequestered now, and it's, we can't force the guys to go, so it's up to them. We have some veterans over there who do live in town because they know how safe it'll be, and we'll obviously stay there the night before home games like we always have. But we've got a commitment. We talked about having a commitment to each other, and it only takes one to sink the ship. And right now it's I think it'll be easier to handle, although we'll still have 69 guys this year. Once we keep going after the cuts. So it's going to be a little bit harder, but it's going to take a hell of a commitment from everybody.
Okay, next up is going to be Justin Granite.
Coach, when we spoke to you the other week, you talked about guys maybe being in awe of Tom when things got started. We saw him on the field yesterday, really teaching different groups throughout the practice. Did you get a sense that the guys have already shaken off that awe of Brady, or is it going to take a little bit more time?
It's going to take a little more time for some of them, some of the young ones especially. Now the guys that were with him out at Berkeley, it's all over with. But the young players, I think still every day they come in and it's like, wow, and then once we start really practicing and I think it will be more of a factor, but we'll get over it pretty soon. I think it's just mostly young guys right now.
Okay, next up is going to be Jenna Lane.
Hi, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us, as always. With Rojo, what gives you the confidence to know that you can trust him in a starting role? I know you moved him into that role late in the season last year.
Yeah, just the way he handled it. He improved dramatically from last April to December, and he's shown that he's a guy. He's a guy with a lot of talent. He's excellent in the screen game. He's run after catch is good. So it's just for him, how much can he expand it? And but I have all the confidence in the world. He put a lot of time working out, catching balls to improve his hands in the offseason, and it's showing up already.
Okay, next up is going to be Ivan Kaufman.
Bruce, you just talked about the screen game. Bruce, how good is Tom Brady at it, and how much does the addition of McCoy give you another weapon in that area?
Yeah, I thought we were a pretty solid screen team last year. When we go back and evaluate wide receiver screens and running back screens, we were fairly effective. We had a lot of big plays, and it's who you're throwing them to. Chris Godwin obviously was excellent at it. Dari and Rojo were probably the best screen runners, although Peyton did a pretty solid job. But yeah, I think it's a big part of our offense, what we've always done. To me, they're really running plays. Just throwing the ball outside fast. It's an outside running play when you use a wide receiver screens. And Tom has always been great at those. He gets it out of his hand so fast and so accurately that it's an easy ball to run with as soon as you catch it.
Can you see McCoy being a big part of that, Bruce?
Oh yeah, I mean he's a heck of a receiver. That's the one thing that got me excited. Having played against him all these years, he's a hell of a receiver, and he's still got a very explosive first step. So yeah, I think that'll be a big part of it.
Okay, next up is going to be Grace Remington.
Hi, Bruce. Thanks for your time. Kind of related to Rick's question about the hotel. I don't know if you've seen the MLB almost shut down after 2 weeks just because there were so many cases. I don't know if you have the power to do this, but would you consider placing a penalty on players who might not respect the rules in their personal time?
There are penalties in place for right now. I kind of trust our guys right now. But when we travel, there'll be no going to restaurants or going out. We'll be sequestered in the hotel that we were at, play the game and get home. So it's so much different than baseball where you're sitting in a city for 4 days, going to restaurants, going out, than it is for football. We're very seldom are we in the town for more than 28 hours.
Okay, next up is going to be Kevin O'Donnell.
Hey, Bruce. I think it was last week in your interview with Rick Stroud, you had said we've got to be careful of the players. They're going to get sick. That's for sure. It's just a matter of how sick they get. Is that the realistic view that players have to go into the season with? And is that a message you've talked to the players about, or will you talk them in one of your meetings with them?
Yeah, that was not last week. That's about a month or so ago before I saw the protocols. And right now, I don't think they will. Once I saw the protocols and what's in place here at the facilities and testing on Friday, they shouldn't be playing against anybody that's sick on Sunday. And there might be a rare occurrence. So I feel very comfortable that they won't get sick in the football atmosphere. If they're going to get sick, it's going to be outside the building. And we talked long and hard about that in our first meeting. I wasn't happy the first day of staying far apart on the field. We were too close together, talking to each other, coaching guys, and they're too close together, and so we're learning every day to make that commitment even better every day to adjust to this lifestyle now.
So you feel much better about it than when you made those comments?
I think I made those in June before I knew anything about what was going to happen. And now I'm totally convinced it's good, or I wouldn't be here.
Okay, next up is Ed Encina.
Bruce, obviously, you've in the offseason, you added a lot of veteran guys, a lot of leadership. Obviously, when you do that, it tends the needle tends to move upwards towards the age and tread on the tires, stuff like that. I mean, when you have the guys like that who have that much promising a resume, are there certain obstacles you have to get to where you're trying to go, which is obviously a Super Bowl? Like all the times you look at teams that have done that in the past, and sometimes it doesn't work doing that.
Yeah, I think it's how they blend together. And their commitment to accountability to each other on and off the field. I think we set a culture last year that I don't know if I've ever been around a bunch of guys that worked any harder than our guys did last year. We need to work smarter and play smarter. I think with the additions that we have are veteran, smart players who can help young guys, especially on and off the field, how to take care of your bodies, how to stay hydrated, and all those things to stop simple things as soft tissue injuries. Tom and Alex are great at that. And so, yeah, I think those guys that we've added are just a library of information for all these young guys. And we have a great sports science staff already And if they just listen and stay hydrated, we'll stop a lot of those type things.
Okay, next up is Luke Easterling.
Bruce, when we talked to you earlier in the offseason, you were concerned obviously about the missed reps in practice. And now that you guys are actually back together and you're on the field, do you feel like you're trying to strike a balance between creating as much normalcy as you can with what you usually would be doing at this point in the season, with trying to get everybody caught up and maybe do more than usual to make sure you guys are ready when the games start?
Yeah, it's totally different. This isn't spring football. We're getting ready to play a game, and we won't have any preseason, so we're gonna have to tackle each other, which I don't like doing, but it's necessary. And our clock's ticking for the Saints, so we're not in spring practice right now, and it's going to be very hard on the younger players. We're in the spring, we would have 2 fields going on. They'd get 400 reps, and we could see guys play special teams, their positions, how they might fit in. Right now, it's getting guys we got to get guys ready to play a game, and it's a shame for those younger players, but that's the facts this year.
That being the case, do you feel like you guys have any sort of advantage with the offseason that you had in terms of the lack of coaching turnover and the fact that you do have a lot of veterans, a lot of coaches who everybody's going to be on the same page a lot more so than maybe a lot of other teams?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. Having not coaching coaches is harder than coaching players. And, most of our guys are back. They know the systems, offense, defense, special teams. And yeah, so they're hitting the ground running. Tom, Gronk, Shady, they're all really smart veteran guys. They'll catch it. Tom's already got it, and Gronk's getting it. Shady will get it real fast. So it's just a matter of me being smart enough to not overdo it as far as the hitting, and but we still have to tackle. And as much as I want to do 2 fields to find those young guys, and with the expanded practice squad, we'll be able to get a good look at them this year anyway. So right now, it's just a matter of managing this thing daily to get where we want to go.
Okay, next up is Karen Loftus.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned some of the new protocol about spacing and how that looked out on the field. As far as you're concerned, what is maybe the most difficult thing that you've faced in assuming these new protocols, whether it's something at the facility or on the field work? What's the biggest challenge that you find under these new protocols?
The hardest thing was find a mask that I could talk through and use a microphone. We're doing our team meetings. All my meetings are in the indoor facility where we're all spread out and have a big TV screen and using a microphone, which I'm not fond of, but it's working fine. I've gotten used to it. Special teams are doing the same thing. Keith's got a headset, and we're doing the special teams meetings out there also. Our ownership did an unbelievable job of reshaping this building so that we could have meeting rooms for all the guys with spacing. And we couldn't use our big auditorium because it only holds 50, so we can all use our offense in there, and basically taking over the other side of the building. So yeah, just new classrooms, getting used to this eating outside, all those little things that can be a distraction if you allow them to be. So far, guys are not allowing that to be a distraction, nor the coaching staff. So very pleased so far that way.
Okay, next up is Zach Blobner.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the wide receiver room. Obviously, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, 2 guys you're not too concerned about. But how do you see the rest of that room shaping up, and what are your expectations with the other guys?
Yeah, I mean, Scotty added about 10 pounds. He looks great. Justin finished the season playing really well. He's running as fast as I've ever seen him right now, running and playing. Mitch got hurt last year. All the other young guys, they're going to have to get in shape. Tyler has got a little bit of an injury right now, so he's missing some time. But I think John Franklin and Cyril Grayson, some of the guys that were here, have a lot of athletic ability and speed, so they're looking for their roles. And again, it's at 3, 4, and 5, and maybe 6. Again, on special teams, where Justin led our team in tackles last year on special teams. So he has his niche.
Okay, next up is Steve Isbitz.
Coach, Jason Pierre-Paul and Vita Vea, they're coming off some procedures. Do you still expect them ready to go for August 17th when the pads come on?
Oh yeah, Jason. We're taking our time with him. He's a vet, but he's ready to go. Vito will have a little bit of a club on his hand, just protect himself, but he's ready to go. So yeah, they won't miss any time when they come. They're not missing any time because I'll walk through right now. But it's just being smart with Jason, not setting him back with overworking that knee right now.
And you had said many months ago that you didn't want to address the team via Zoom. You were going to wait till that first big in-person meeting. How did it go? And is your message, is it tied, or do you mention Tom Brady being in the building? Do you have fun with that, or you just try to act like he's not there?
Oh no, he's just another guy. He gets cussed out like everybody else. So it's no different that way. But yeah, it was fun. It was a meeting that was long, and we talked more about protocols and the things that we have to commit to win. If we have all our players, I like our chances. And all those young guys on the practice squad have to be ready to step up when called on, and the expectation level doesn't change. If you're in there, the expectation level does not change. And so, yeah, it went very, very well.
Okay, we have time for a couple more. Next up is going to be Rick Stroud.
Hey, Bruce, you've been around a lot of iconic quarterbacks, or Super Bowl winning quarterbacks anyway. Brady is probably a little different animal. Now that you spent a little time with him, what's unique about him, other than the jewelry, obviously, but what makes him Tom Brady?
Yeah, I think the desire to excel every single day, every play. If the ball's not where he wants it, or the receiver's not where he wants them, it's nonstop grind with him. And it was the same way with Peyton. So yeah, I think they all have the same qualities of making people willing themselves on other people to win, and making them accept it quickly. Ben, all the good ones, they all had it. When they talked, everybody listened, and Tom has that for sure. Obviously, with his, he has the rings and all that, but what he did over at Berkeley was strictly on him. No, there was nobody edged him on to do that. He was like, hey, let's get going. Like right now, he's like tired of walkthroughs already. He's like, we got to practice. I was like, we got to wait about 5 more days. So yeah, I love that about him.
All right, we'll do the last one with Greg Allman.
Hey, Bruce, I know you guys under normal circumstances have the call lists and kind of the emergency depth set up for players if you need somebody in a pinch. How much time have you spent with contingencies for the coaching staff as well, especially if you were to lose one of your play callers late in a game week, just having somebody else at the ready just in case?
Yeah, we did that when we came back in July or late June. We put those protocols in place. Who would take my place? Who would take Todd's place? Who would take Byron's place? Who would take Keith's place? We have enough young coaches that now in the system, if the receiver coach gets sick, the assistant receiver coach takes over. And so we're very fortunate to have that big of a staff and have guys I trust to do it.
Okay, that's all for today.
Thanks, guys.